It was meant to be nothing more than a relaxed evening with friends, just a small get-together at the neighbor's house. I put on my favorite outfit, wore my brightest smile, and told myself I was ready to enjoy the night. My husband, Daniel, stood quietly near the drinks table, making polite conversation with a few people he knew. He wasn't the type to be loud or flashy, but his gentle nature had always been something I cherished. At least I used to. Lately, that feeling had faded. Instead of warmth, I felt restless, irritable, even resentful, though I never dared say it aloud. As the evening unfolded, I started making little jokes at Daniel's expense. Small jabs about his habits, his clothes, the way he held his glass. Everyone laughed politely, and I felt a surge of attention, as though I had the stage while he was the punchline. But I didn't stop there. My teasing grew sharper. I mimicked his walk, exaggerated his voice, turned every quirk into a joke. The room echoed with laughter, but it was all at him. I noticed the tightness in his jaw, the stiffness in his face, yet I brushed it aside, convincing myself it was harmless fun. Then I went too far. Honestly, Daniel, I said loud enough for the whole room. Sometimes I wonder why I married you at all. You're so dull, so predictable. It's a miracle you even put up with me. Laughter rippled through the crowd, some uneasy, some genuine. But Daniel didn't laugh. His eyes locked onto mine, and in that moment, something shifted. He didn't respond right away. Instead, he straightened, took a steady breath, and began walking toward me. The room fell silent. The air grew heavy. Friends who had been chuckling just moments earlier glanced at each other nervously. Daniel stopped in front of me. His voice was calm, his gaze steady. No anger, no raised tone, just quiet certainty. I think this needs to end, he said. I forced a nervous laugh. Come on, you're joking, right? You're overreacting. It was just a joke. Everyone was laughing. He shook his head. No, it wasn't a joke. Tonight you humiliated me in front of our friends, and it's not the first time. I've tried to overlook it, tried to forgive, but I can't anymore. My stomach sank. Daniel, wait, we can talk about this. He lifted his hand, stopping me cold. There's nothing to discuss. I won't stay married to someone who mocks me, belittles me, and shows me no respect. Not privately, not publicly, and certainly not like this. The silence in the room was suffocating. Friends shifted uncomfortably, realizing this wasn't just an argument. It was final. I don't understand, I stammered. You're ending our marriage over a joke? It wasn't a joke, he replied, his voice steady and unshaken. It was betrayal. And betrayal is something I can't forgive. I'm done. Then he turned, walked to the door, and left. I stood frozen as the party's laughter and warmth evaporated into nothing. In the days that followed, Daniel filed for divorce. There were no fights, no shouting matches, just quiet, decisive action. He moved forward with dignity, reclaiming his life. I tried reaching out, apologizing, pleading, but he never responded. His choice was final. Friends and family who had witnessed that night later told me how stunned they'd been, not only by the public humiliation but also by the strength and composure Daniel displayed. He didn't lash out, didn't seek revenge. He simply drew a line, stood tall, and walked away for good. As time passed, I began to understand the magnitude of what I had destroyed. My jokes hadn't been harmless. They had severed the trust, respect, and love that once held us together. Months later, Daniel had already moved into a new place, built new routines, and reshaped his life around self-respect. I was left alone, haunted by the memory of that night, and the calm finality in his voice when he said, "I'm done." The lesson was undeniable. Betrayal doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet, deliberate, and devastating. Daniel's decision taught me that respect must be earned. Trust is fragile, and humiliation leaves scars that don't fade. He didn't need to argue or shout. He simply chose himself, walked away, and never looked back. And in doing so, he left me with a memory I'll carry forever. the night I mocked my husband and he ended our marriage. Too late, I learned that love and loyalty can't survive mockery, and sometimes the strongest act of all is to stand, turn away, and never return.